guys. Welcome to Cafe Otaku. This is the first one we're doing. It's branching off the top a little bit, but anime and waifus take precedence over anything else, so that's why we had to do it separate. I guess I'll start introducing myself. You know me, the king from there. From here, though, I'm known as Opai Senpai, Waifu Crusher 69. Got a couple aliases, just let you know. And I let my boy here introduce himself.
Yeah, I am the hard-boiled Sama. I am Swag Killer 69.
Swag Killer.
One of my many names. We all have to go by many names.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here today to do the thankless job of crushing waifus.
Yeah, they don't thank us.
Among other things, of course.
They don't thank us, but it's a tiresome job, and
we don't do this because it's easy. We do it because it's...
Yep. So, well, let's get started. There's a couple things we want to talk about. I know we saw the Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl movie. This is going to be spoilers, probably, by the way. I'm going to call it now. So we'll let you know when spoilers. Probably give us about 15 minutes or so. But then if you're trying to skip spoilers for it. But I thought it was
we could probably throw up a timestamp for when we,
Yeah, make it a little bit easier for you. But I think it was a great movie. They definitely solidified an ending. But then they had to throw that one part at the end to kind of make you hey, there's still a chance something can be going on.
If this movie makes a lot of money.
There was definitely some tragic moments that they tried to set you up to feel bad and have feel for these characters again, even though they've already had a whole season of making it so this is who I fell in love with. And yeah. And there was definitely there was some things I didn't see going on, sense of spoilers and stuff. When I didn't think of it at first, but like we talked about, once it happened, it kind of made sense. When you found out that his heart is who Shoko had, and you're just I wasn't expecting that, but it makes sense when you see it. Because his heart isn't supposed to exist in two places at once.
Yeah, it does make sense, but I'm still wondering why the mark on his chest from his heart transplant was a Wolverine slash across the middle.
Maybe in the original accident, his chest got fucked up in the accident, so it just looked like that. It was a car crash. Who knows? Maybe he hit something else. Maybe, who knows? It just looked badass. All right, it just looked badass. You know what? Because you're right. There is no explanation. It had to have been something from the car accident, because when they showed Shoko in the wedding dress, she had a normal cut that you would do for a heart transplant. Yeah. It wasn't even a X shape. It was a line with this stitch on the side of it and stuff like that, kind of like you would normally see for a heart transplant.
Suppose so.
So there had to have been something with the accident that caused it, I think.
Yeah. But needless to say, in his effort to prevent said car accident, our main character, blank-faced man, finds himself in front of a car, and no one but his girlfriend pushes him out of the way, and he has to live with the idea that she is just dead. Hey. So for about 20 minutes, we as the audience have just had our souls crushed beneath their boots, and that was hard to watch.
I mean, this isn't called Waifu Crushers for no reason. She got crushed by that car.
She got crushed by a car, and the sound designer of that movie didn't spare any expense with the head hitting the sidewalk sound effect.
I know. That was the most hurtful part, was just hearing it all happen.
Yeah, and the way the music goes. But the thing that movie did well, I know that it, from our perspective, we got annoyed by it, but the thing that the movie did well was it sold the idea of each and every single tragic thing that happened. The 4 different tragic things that were happening at the end of that movie were all very well built up and looked very inevitable. And I'm really glad that they didn't go with any of those, because that would have crushed me at my core.
Some of them I would have been okay with.
For our listeners who don't know, this story is basically about a man who, in the original episode, hallucinates a girl in a bunny suit, a risque, Playboy bunny suit.
Well, he wasn't hallucinating. He was the only one who could see her.
Hang on.
Okay. My bad.
I'm setting the stage here.
I'll let you. Okay.
He thinks that he's hallucinating her because only he can see her. Now he eventually realizes that she is the subject of a syndrome called, is it just called puberty syndrome?
It's just called puberty syndrome.
Okay, so there's this supernatural disease condition in their world where different quantum physics things happen during your puberty if you're stressed out. And it happens to his sister, it happens to this girl. And to make a long story short, he eventually resolves this issue for this woman, and she actually turns out to be a celebrity in their world. And she starts pursuing her acting career again, and sort of gets her life back together because of this guy, and they fall in love. And the rest of the story is them bumping into other people who are also suffering from this puberty syndrome and trying to untangle all of their problems and learn about themselves and their world in the process. And the movie picks up right after the show leaves off. And yeah, she's well underway in her career, and they're just sort of trying to solve this young girl's problems for her. And it's very sad. It's about a girl who is in the hospital with a heart condition, and she is very intimately tied to the main character because of that. Turns out he is the donor that is supposed to give her his heart after he suffers a car accident. And of course, she comes from the future. There's a bunch of time travel stuff incorporated into it. But it's a very satisfying movie, and I'm glad that we saw it. I think it was only in our theaters for like a day. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like a day or two or something like that. I believe it was a day though. But yeah, yeah, about the endings and stuff. Oh, the only one, I guess the first two ones that could have been ending would have been the ones I would have been most upset about. The second one, not as much, I guess, but it would have been kind of weird. The first one, of course, her just getting crushed and him living with no one besides his friends now alive. Then that's just a terrible ending.
That would have hurt very badly.
That would have been like, just don't make the movie. Just let it end the way it did before. That would have been better.
You know how in an RPG there's a good ending and a bad ending? That would have been the terrible.
When you're playing an RPG, you see you get what you think is the ending, the credits roll, and then the story continues, and you're like, no, I don't want to risk this. Don't do this. Just end it.
Yeah, and not to mention, the main character basically figures out a way to prevent that outcome from occurring, and he eventually gets Bunny Girl Senpai back to life, and all is saved. Unfortunately, the little girl now, because she doesn't have someone to transplant a new heart into her, is going to die. Now, the main character wants to go back in time to a point in her past where he could save her at the risk of his own life. And once again, for a long time, the movie looks at it like, yeah, this definitely happened. And I'm really glad that they did not do that, because this main character has spent the entire show and all of this movie saving everyone and solving everyone. And it's not his fault that this girl is in a hospital, and it's very sad, and we're all sorry about that. But he can't save everyone. Even Superman can't save everyone. So, yeah, I'm glad that they didn't go with that.
And one good thing I like is that the whole purpose that she did the whole coming back or from her puberty syndrome is because she wanted to save him. That was the whole reason she came back. And she did all the stuff like the wedding, and other stuff, because she knew she was going to die doing this anyway. So in the end, when he was saying, hey, I'm going to go back, I may lose my memories of what happened so far, but I'm sure that I'll be able to meet everyone else again and so forth.
Which would have been terrible.
And she didn't let that happen. She said, don't worry, I'm going to handle it myself and stuff like this, because he's constantly been giving to other people, but he's never, he's never actually let someone give back to him.
The main character of this show is actually exceedingly.
So the fact that this Shoko did it for him and everything just shows.
Well, it's even better than that. She actually saved her.
Yeah, by doing that as well.
Her own internal change was what rescued her own life.
And his.
Famously at the end of the movie, they're walking on the beach where, main character had originally met Shoko, this older student in the future, which he didn't know at the time. and he sees her as a young girl and realizes that she has saved herself. And that's the end of the film. It's a very touching place to end, because it means that everyone has been the day has been saved, essentially. And there is story left to go, I say.
It doesn't just necessarily end because he has a flashback to remember her, even though it was supposed to be. A lot of times you don't remember it, and he called out her name, and she knew who he was still, and then it ended. So they left it with like.
So she does have memories of him. Now the creepy part of that I told on the ride home with Ken was, if I was this young girl, now she's in the 6th or the 7th grade,
middle school, something like that. Yeah.
And here comes this high school kid, 16, 17, 18, something like that, and he's calling my daughter by name. He had better be able to explain himself very, very well. Because if anyone came up to my daughter and just knew her name, I'm like, you should not be privy to this young girl's name. But of course, anime logic, it just ended right there. So I give that film a 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Yep, I think it was very well done. It plays around too much with your emotions. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cheap in that way, because they do so many fake outs that are just like, that are so well developed and like, look like they're going that way, but it's just a fake out. I told Ken, this is like the Return of the King of anime movies. It just ends flat like 5 or 6 times, and it makes it really hard to hold in your pee.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see around that. It's close to that. Yeah, that was that. I mean, I always Fanimes, I'm always up for seeing more. They could always just make OVAs, and that'd be fine. Mm-hmm. The story itself, though, doesn't really need to be continued. The only way they could continue it, I could see, is if his friend has some type of syndrome going on.
He's already resolved the conflict of literally everyone else in his friend, which is the one thing that was left unresolved that I was a little bit hopeful to see tied up by the end of the story. The scientific or science club friend of the main character has a very, very deep crush on his best friend, who's the basketball player, and sort of confesses her love to him at the end of the first season. And we never really see that resolved or talked about. And you're right, actually, Ken. He is the only character that I can think of that actually hasn't had the puberty syndrome problem resolved. So maybe there could be an OVA about them. And yeah, I mean, the story with the main character and my son is pretty much over. I would like to see him get his kiss, but I'm not dying on this hill. But if they want to continue it, they definitely have a little bit of wiggle room for some OVAs.
Yeah. I mean, the kiss is fine. He doesn't. I mean, definitely should. I would be okay if you got. But you know what? I think your girlfriend getting hit by a car for you means more than the kiss. So.
Well, of course it means more. It's just the gesture. I mean,
I got you.
So, yep. I mean, that was about all I have to say about that. Would we want to go ahead and get into the news?
We can. I mean, we can always bring up stuff as we go too. But
sure.
A couple other things. Yeah. I mean, we can. What did you want to start with first in the news?
Well, I mean, shoot, I pretty much have everything from left to right here. I'll go ahead and get this out of the way because I know that Ken is not really a One Piece fan. The One Piece Stampede movie is set to release October 24th of this year, and I'm not sure how many theaters it'll be released in. But if you're a One Piece fan, definitely go out and support that movie. Let them know that you want more One Piece. I'll be checking into my ticket probably after the show. The film basically takes place during the Pirate Expo, which is like a gathering of all the most powerful pirates in the New World. And it's basically an expo where pirates come together and collaborate to try and find One Piece. So the pirates have been fighting over the One Piece for decades now, and I guess the Pirate Expo is like just an event where pirates can sort of network with each other. And basically, a very, very powerful villain named Douglas Bullitt is going to be antagonizing the Straw Hat crew. He is a former member of Goldie Rogers' pirate crew who escapes from Impel Down, which is a notorious prison in the One Piece world. So he will be our villain, and should be pretty cool that Luffy will be able to let loose against him with all of his latest forms. In any case, I just wanted to let people know when that was being released. Let's see here. If you want to go ahead and cover one of yours, Ken, I just wanted to get that one out of the way.
Well, one thing I just want to say about that. So they have their own pirate convention, like an anime convention, just a pirate convention.
Yeah, and bear in mind that the movies are not canon, so this is actually for this. Now, all of these do have the seal of approval of Oda, so they're all like they go with his blessing, but they're not considered actual canon in the story.
Okay. Well, that's
but yeah, apparently there is an expo of pirates, and I guess the idea is that once you get to the new world, the thing about One Piece is in the very original One Piece story, they were going to the Grand Line, which was the strip of sea that goes around their world in a circle. And there's two halves to the Grand Line that are broken up by two different continents on either side. The first half of the Grand Line is just the Grand Line. That's exactly what it's called. The second half of the Grand Line, which is much more treacherous and is home to a lot of powerful pirates and monsters and weather systems and all that stuff, is called the New World. The New World is a place where only the strongest pirates that exist can even survive, much less thrive. And they are also home to the four emperors of the sea, which are called the Yonko. Yonko means four emperors. Those are the four most powerful pirates in their world. And I'm not going to list them off, obviously, but that's where they have their own islands and, little archipelagos and their own domains. And so the Straw Hats have sort of been working their way through the New World after the time skip, which took place, I think, back in like 2009 or 10. So it's been a while. About half the story on either side has been, Grand Line, New World. And so anyway, the Pirate Expo is basically the pirates of the New World coming together and saying, all right, well, how about you make an alliance with me, I make an alliance with him, and then we all just wreck everybody else and we get the One Piece. So that's the idea. I'm interested, obviously. I'm a giant One Piece nerd. I know that One Piece is kind of like you fall on one side or the other. I've talked to plenty of people who say that they'll never watch it because there's just too much of it. Then, of course, you have people like Ken who just it just doesn't speak to, I suppose.
There's just some things in life you just gotta put your feet down, stand firm, and just let them know that you're not gonna move.
That you're not gonna watch their show. So yeah. Just wanted to knock that out.
Okay. Did you find a date for it yet?
Yeah. It's October 20.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you said it. I might not have heard you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, October 24th, 29th, and 31st. So I guess it's going to be released in different theaters on different days. So whatever your local theaters are showing, you definitely want to check in on that because it's not going to be there long, just like Bunny Girl Senpai. So One Piece fans, look into that. Yeah.
Speaking of movies, there's a couple other movies. One that's not coming to America, but I think it'd be cool if it did. And it may be a show you didn't watch. Have you heard of Kaguya-sama: Love is War?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It came like a couple seasons ago. They made a live action version of it, and I thought it'd be interesting and stuff. It's basically about the student council. Main guy is the president. The main girl is the not secretary, but second in command, basically, vice president. And then they have a friend who's the secretary, who's a ditz, stupid, but everyone loves her, mostly because of the dance that she did. But and then they have this other friend who's like the accountant for it, but he just is depressed always and hates women because he's one of those people that are like, it's women's fault that I don't have a girlfriend type thing. One of those people. Yeah. And essentially the main character and the vice president fall for each other, but they're both tsundere, so they're not going to admit it. And they
explain that term for those of our audience who might not.
If you've made it this far, you should know what that means. It's someone who likes someone but they don't want to admit it, so they're just an asshole to him, basically.
Mm.
Best way to describe it. But they don't want to admit it to each other because they feel like whoever's the one that admits they love someone first has lost the war, and they're not in control. So they're constantly trying to trick each other into saying they love the other person in order for
so that they can be the winner.
So they can be together and hold the power in the relationship.
Oh, that's a grim outlook.
But I mean, it's not like that way. They just don't want to be. They don't hate.
They just don't want to be
say.
caught on the back foot.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's a good show. They have a live action movie. It's only in Japan though. It's been doing pretty well, I think, from what I've seen. The other movie, which I already have my ticket for, and actually a couple of my other friends still need to get tickets for, is the Konosuba movie, which comes out. I got to get the exact day, but it's going to be November.
And for those of us that don't know what Konosuba is basically a very standard starting isekai story. Guy buys a video game, high school kid, goes home, gets sucked into the video game world, and is told by a goddess that he can take. Or no, I'm sorry. He dies. How could I?
Yes, you forgot the main important part.
He dies. I got lost in the weeds. He thinks that he gets run over by a truck. He finds out later that a slow tractor was coming in his vague general direction.
Towards the girl. It was coming towards the girl.
And he's a good Samaritan, so he pushes the girl out of the way and then literally just craps himself to death and has a very embarrassing death and is transported to the netherworld, and he is told that he can be whisked away into this fantasy world with one item of his choosing. And as an act of petty revenge for this goddess who is constantly berating him for the way that he died, he decides to yank her into the world with him, much to her chagrin. And the story is about him with a useless goddess and a party of useless women who are trying to slay this demon king. And it's just a bunch of hilarious hijinks. And it's really funny. It's a good comedy anime. If you're in for some laughs, main characters oscillates between being a nice guy and just a total prick. And it's really funny to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite comedies. You still got to finish it.
I do. I still have to finish it. Me and Ken have been...
We're past the halfway point in the first season now. So, I mean, even if you wanted to, we could always, after this, we could always pound out the the first season, only 4 episodes or so left. But anyway,
we're all about pounding waifu shows.
As long as they're old enough. Remember, that show has like 14-year-olds and stuff.
Well, we didn't say which ones.
It may be cool over there, but unfortunately,
there's stuff.
Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your beliefs, you got to follow the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I live by the American way, and there are definitely some waifus that are that ain't cool. So
some waifus that'll get you locked up for lifeu.
Yeah, they'll lock you up and take away.
And
no one wants that.
Yeah, so that's around November. I can get you an exact date. I believe it's like November 11th, if I remember. It was only one day. They actually got it for another day too in theaters now, so it's gonna be in theaters for 2 days. Okay. So I'd have to get the second date. I believe it's 2 days afterwards. But no, in either case, it's online. You can always look it up if you need to. Anyone else? I think that's about it for movies. Unless you have any other anime movies you gotta talk about.
I do. Well, they're not technically considered movies.
Well, that's fine, because I mean, the next thing I was gonna say we could talk about was like the shows that are coming up and like
the upcoming shows. Well, these are you could kind of look at them as movies. They're a little bit weird. So Yu Yu Hakusho basically has a new pair of OVAs that are going to be coming out. We don't have a release date. Unfortunately, Funimation has not confirmed anything with that. But Chris Sabat, who plays Yusuke Urameshi and Kuwabara, 2 characters from Yu Yu Hakusho. He also played Vegeta and Piccolo in the original Dragon Ball English dub. So he's a very famous anime dub voice artist. He has confirmed that the 2 episodes, 2 Shots and All or Nothing, will be included with the 25th anniversary Blu-ray box collection for Yu Yu Hakusho. Now that was released back in October of 2018, but those are set to be released. I should have said he's confirmed that they are going to be released on Funimation.
Okay.
I sort of flubbed that up a little bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. You can go.
I was going to say, is this in correlation because they're talking about? I know they're making a new season. They're bringing it back, so I didn't know if they were just using this.
Yes, this is just going to be 2 OVAs and piece. So you're going to get about an hour of content, but these are basically OVAs that sort of continue on what happened at the end of the story. So basically, if you don't recall the ending of Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke Urameshi basically wins the Demon World Tournament, defeating the most powerful candidate to become Demon King. But he finds out that there are several levels beneath the demon world that he's seeing. And there's an even more powerful demon that rules on the lowest levels. So their world is basically like a cylinder. And Earth is right up here, Spirit World is here, Demon World is way down here. So they basically set up an antagonist that could follow the events of the show. And the Two Shots OVA is basically a bonus chapter from the manga's 7th volume, where it tells the story of how Kurama and Hiei met the 2 demons that ally with Yusuke over the course of the series. And then All or Nothing, which shows all of the main characters coming back together to solve a hostage crisis in Demon World, where, I guess they have someone that they have to save. I haven't read those chapters, so I'm not sure exactly the details. But yep, so hopefully we can expect a release date on those soon, because I love Yu Yu Hakusho. It's probably in my top 5 of all time. Wouldn't say top 3. I think Hunter x Hunter is a little bit better.
Yeah.
But definitely Yu Yu Hakusho, if you've never seen it, you got to get on it, man.
Yeah, it's one of those classics everyone needs to watch.
You have to watch. It's essential watching for any anime fan.
There are some animes definitely are essential. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is one. I would say Rurouni Kenshin's another one that's kind of a classic must-have. Cowboy Bebop, of course.
Cowboy Bebop, I would say. I would also argue that Trigun as well.
Trigun is definitely one of them, I would say, too.
That was made right around the same time Bebop kind of had similar art styles. So if you like one, you'll definitely like the other.
Those are all.
Yeah. But
maybe if you go back far enough, the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yeah, probably. I mean, this all came out around. I mean, it was between. I think that the manga was 90 to 94. I think that the anime was 93 to 96. I want to say.
Somewhere around that.
So yeah, but that is that. Yu Yu Hakusho. Looking forward to that. Do you have anything that you want to bring up before we just start cleaning up some of my tabs here?
Well, not movies. I mean, was that everything you had about like movies, kind of?
Yeah, that was the only vaguely movie kind of thing I had.
Yeah, so probably nothing in there. So we can kind of move over to like the new season stuff that's coming out. And so I think I've definitely watched a few more than you have from what we've talked about so far. But so I'll kind of talk about the ones I've seen. So Black Fox. I thought it was a show, but it's actually a movie. But I watched it. It's definitely good. It's got its action. It's got a story that's pretty well explained, I would say, for what it is. The ending of it, they definitely left open. I'm not going to get too into it because I know you might watch it. It's only a movie.
I mean,
that's on Crunchyroll. So the ending they kind of left open, like there could be more, but it is a movie, so they would have to either develop a manga, because I tried to look up, I didn't see no manga for it. So unless there's a light novel I didn't look into yet.
So it's just an original story?
Yeah, that's from what I've seen so far. So either A, they're going to leave it open, you can think about what you want. B, they're going to make another movie if it does well. Or C, maybe it'll get its own anime or manga or both. But they definitely introduced stuff like towards the end that was like, you didn't explain nothing. None of this was explained. Like they're trying to make it so that there's going to be more, or leave a hint that there could be more.
Right.
That's good. I recommend that. Let me open this up because some of these names are definitely not something that's easily.
I cannot believe that we got past this without including it in the movie section.
What's
Kimetsu no Yaiba ended their first season with a little text crawl at the end saying that a movie has been greenlit.
The only reason I didn't mention that is because at the end of the last podcast we talked about it last time. But yeah, we can talk about it again.
Oh yeah.
But we can talk about it again, yeah.
Basically it's going to cover the Infinite Train arc. Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and the gang are all on this train that has been the victim of a demon, and several human disappearances have taken place on this train. It is going to be a relatively self-contained story. I guess able to fit into a movie, which I would rather have. I mean, the production value that they're able to put into a movie is probably going to be a little bit better than they could in I don't know, 6-7 episodes of the anime, and that's not saying nothing either. I mean, the anime has really, really excellent art design, but you know how movies are. They have a little bit more money to spend. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, it was just greenlit, so there's absolutely no release date anywhere on the horizon. Probably going to be waiting for another 5-6 months before we get a release date on that, but it is greenlit. So
usually a lot of time it's a year out. A lot of times for it.
Yeah. And I'm not sweating it. I feel like the first season ended with a very sad. We kind of got the villain on both ends. We got him in the first episode and the very last, and we learned a little bit more about our main villain. So it kind of sated my appetite for world building. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I'm gonna see it. I mean, that's all I gotta say about that. I'm gonna see it whenever it comes out.
So. Yeah, definitely.
I've already read the manga. I'm already caught up to it. I'm following it along. So I already know about that arc and what it is.
Ken is a higher level weeb than I.
I'm sorry. You need to get on the manga level. I'm trying.
I do, and I definitely need to. I'm going to be doing Otaku Cafe.
It's these secrets are hard to keep. That's all I can say.
Yeah, you and my buddies who read manga all say the same. Yeah, but it is something that I need to correct.
But let's see. I'm just looking at the titles real quick. Sorry if I'm turned away. Dr. Stone, of course, is continuing. Last episode was pretty good. Pretty much. They continued up. Chrome now has to fight. I forgot his name. Asshole blonde guy. We'll go with that. Anyway, he's got to fight asshole blonde guy.
Ginro.
Magna. No, Magna.
Oh, Chrome has to fight him?
Yeah, did you not watch the last episode?
I have not, no.
Oh, do you want me not to talk about it?
I mean, you can. I don't mind. I mean,
okay.
Dr. Stone is one of those that I can see.
Yeah, he didn't he didn't beat him basically in that fight. Well, beat Magna because what had happened was, you're cool with me getting in depth with it. That's cool, fine with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because Magna was like, hey, you've won, ever since you got the helmet, I can't beat you. And then the guy was like, well, you're right. This is something that was thrown in. So he went and asked the ref, was this cheating? Because they threw the item in for him to have. And they said, well, he didn't throw it directly at him, so I don't see it as cheating. But while he's having this conversation, and Magna comes up behind him and cracks his skull with the thing pretty much, and he gets knocked out.
Oh, no.
So he loses the match to Magna because he just knocked him out with that hit while he wasn't paying attention.
So he's
an asshole.
Him.
Yeah. And then the next match is supposed to be with God, I'm so bad with names. Blonde-haired girl, that's their friend. You're so good with animated Kohaku, yeah. I was gonna say something like that, but I was like, I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm just gonna say something to describe her because Reed remembers anime names way better than me. It's a skill you have. I don't understand.
It's a useless skill that doesn't matter and doesn't help you in life.
It does when you remember your waifu's name and she becomes real. It's all right.
Yeah, I guess if that day comes, I'll be in luck. But
but it's supposed to be Kohaku versus Senku. Kohaku actually doesn't make it back in time, so she's disqualified. So it makes them think, there's only Ginro left who can beat Magna. Magna, and then the reason it doesn't, she doesn't make it back in time because it's actually the match before him is Chrome versus that little midget guy that's annoying as fuck. And then during the fight, Magna sees her coming back to the village, and he just says, "Lose now," and the guy just submits and gives up. So Chrome wins. Doesn't make back. Senku wins. Genro's fight, he wins, but he gets fucked up a lot. He keeps thinking that he's doing better than he is because he's fucking high on caffeine right now. But he just can't go down basically because he's so high on caffeine. He just won't get knocked out or late or
after a lifetime of not having caffeine and then loading up on as much as he did,
eating it, drinking it, eating the raw ingredients, everything. So he beats the guy, but he's really fucked up. Goes to the next match, which is Magna versus Chrome. Essentially, when they're fighting, Chrome's getting his ass beat. What did you expect? Chrome's gonna get his ass beat in a physical match 1-on-1. He's trying, and then as the fight goes on, he sees the melon hat. He grabs it and he holds it up to the sunlight, and he's basically trying to magnify the sunlight to burn his clothes so it catches on fire. Senku tells him, that's not going to work because that's a different type of lens you have to use for that than glasses. But he figures it out that before he did that, when he was covering up, laying on the ground or whatever over the mask, he was actually having his sweat and tears fall into the lens. So it made it it makes it like a different, like work like the original lens that would do this because the water magnifies it. So it's going to work. But Gen actually comes back. And he's like, oh, poor Chrome, getting his ass beat and all this. And what's he supposed to do and stuff? And he's like, how much time does he need or something like this? And Senku does unrealistic math and says terms I don't understand as a modern day human. And he says he needs exactly 1 minute for it to catch his clothes on fire. And I'm like, all right, you're smarter than me, so I'll say you just figured it out. I'll just say that.
You're prehistoric young Rick Sanchez.
Well, no, Senku
or not prehistoric, post-historic, I guess.
Yeah, but you're a genius. I'm not. So we'll just go with that. You can do this shit. He's already done other amazing shit like make gas masks in the fucking past and everything. So, but so Gin basically goes up there and jumps up and says, "Hey, Magna," and Magna sees him. He's like, "How the fuck are you alive? I am stabbed your ass on the ground." And he says, "I use sorcery, of course." And he just does some stuff that makes him think sorcery exists. He says, "I've put a curse on you now, so if you move, your heart will explode." And then Chrome starts playing along. If he's like, "Oh, but I'm too weak. I can't do anything." And then Gin's like, "But you have to do it. I can only hold him for 1 minute." And then it makes it more believable because of that. So he's like, so now I just got to stand here for 1 minute and wait. So he's basically standing there to 1 minute, and Chrome's trying his best to hold the mask still so it doesn't mess with the light coming through the lens. And within that minute, right when it happens, he gets a flash fire on his clothes, and Chrome pushes him off the edge to put him out because he's like said, "Well, unlike you, I'm not a murderer, so I'll help you out." And he pushes him off the ledge into the water, and Chrome beats him.
Right on.
And that's pretty much where it ends.
Chrome now is he gets the chieftain's daughter.
No, he's not done yet. He's still got it still has Senku and Genro. And I know what's going to happen next, but I can't tell you.
Well, we'll just have to remain
because I'm also caught up on that manga as well.
Yeah.
But that's the last episode. Still worth watching, definitely. I know you'll go watch it still because it's a good show and everything, but definitely a good episode. Other shows, Orasuki, Are You the Only One Who Loves Me? Told you about it earlier. You haven't watched it. It's the one where guy is going to school, normal school, feels like. His best friend is an ace player on the baseball team. He has a childhood friend who's this walks to school to him, stuff like this, really friendly, and she's like a childish type person, character type. Doesn't say it, but you could tell she's on like the tennis team or something like that. She always carries a racket. And then there's also another character, which is the student council president. He's like the accountant for him, for the student council. When he goes in there, issue is that when they both invite him on date, like it seems like a date, Saturday and Sunday, he goes to them, each one of them, and it's not even just like they both do it. them asking him to do this is word for word the same. And you could see, and the second time you could see the look in his face like, no, please not again, or something like this. They basically ask him, it looks like they're confessing to him, and at the very last part, they're like, I'm in love with your best friend, help me out. And then he gets like super defeated and broken. And then you find out later on that he has been plotting to try to make this like a romantic comedy, and that he's actually secretly an asshole, and this is a persona he made to make this true. And he says he'll help them, and then he figures out, you know what? I'll help both of them. Whoever loses, that leaves them available for me then. So he's okay with getting the scraps, basically. And when he and then
character's not noble enough to be like, I want. It's like, nah, my butt, the Chad get a.
I'm cool with either one, you know. So he can get first picks, and then I'll take what's left. So, and so he goes through with this and all that, and he's helping them. They're all idiots. They don't know how to do anything. He made a plan up for them and all that, but they both fuck it up, and he's got to recover it on the go. And then when it's lunchtime finally, they're like, oh, they're trying to find him, look around for him and stuff. He's hiding. He's like, I need to get out of here. These bitches won't quit bothering me. All right. I know you want his dick, but let me have some space. Oh, and they both know that he's helping both of them. He said, I'm gonna help both of you.
And they're just cool with it.
No, they weren't at first, but he was like, this other person also wants him. They're like, oh, I knew it, that bitch. And they're like, and he said, I'm gonna help both of y'all. And they're like, I thought you were on my side. I'm gonna help both of y'all. And they're like, oh, okay.
That's what and that's the end of that.
I mean, you either get his help or you don't. So you just take what you can get. So
they need every opportunity they can get.
And then so he goes to the library, meets a girl there who he knows who she is. Everyone does. She's like the quiet library aide person, except that everyone just doesn't talk to. Except that she has a sharp tongue when she talks to him. And she's like, yeah, so just to blatantly or be blunt about it, I'm gonna say it like that isn't exactly how they did it in the show. She's like, I've been stalking you and I know your secrets. And you can actually see her, like if you're watching a show in different scenes, you'll actually see her looking around corners and stuff in the background. So you actually know she was stalking them and stuff. And then she's like, all I want you to do is just come talk to me during lunch every day. And and then
what is she planning to do?
She loves him.
She blackmail him with
that he'll tell his best friend all his secrets, you know, about being secretly an asshole.
He's gonna have to tell his best friend anyway.
No, he doesn't. What does he have to tell him?
He's working with these women to get him a girlfriend.
No, he's working with the women to hook them up with him. So he's just playing it off like trying to get them.
So how is he going to do that without eventually?
He just sets them up in situations where they can talk with them and do it themselves. Yeah. So she'll tell him secretly, like she'll tell him his secrets that, like, you know, you're an asshole. You've been plotting against everyone, all this stuff. Basically, hold it all against them, and that's all she wants is for him to come sit with her in lunches and talk with him. What's funny to me is one of the funniest parts too about that show that I thought was funny. She, so all the girls that told him this, they all like sat on a bench and said, "Sit on the bench next to me first," and then said it. So when she points over there before she tells him that she loves him and stuff like this and this, she looks over there and there's just a bench that's been installed in the library. And he's like, oh, why is this here? And then it cuts to a shipping box and she says they have fast delivery options. And she said, now sit on the bench. And then he sits down. And then she's just like, blah, blah, I love you. This is from when? And he's like, I don't care. And he's like, and then he started trying to talk nicely. She said, this isn't the one I want to talk to. And so she's basically into the asshole side of him, not the nice guy side that he made up. So she's like, I want to talk to Hyde and stuff like this. And it just cut.
She likes the real him.
Yeah, and then it basically is like, why is this the only one who loves me or something like that? And that's where the first episode ends on that.
Mm.
So
I'm
gonna keep watching.
Definitely intrigued.
Yeah, I'd say give that one a watch. It's definitely good. A Sentence of a Bookworm came out. I haven't watched it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if I'm that interested in it personally, but
yeah, or a college girl reincarnated as like a.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Grand Blue Fantasy Season 2 came out. I didn't watch the first one. I might be interested in it, though. the look of characters in the Grand Blue universe are always nice. So I kind of like the look of the characters at least. So don't know about the story though or anything. I know it's basically a game to take your money for mobile devices though. The actual Grand Blue.
Oh yeah.
Fire Force is continuing, but they've been on a 2-week hiatus.
They'll be coming back next week though, right?
Yeah, this next Friday, which is bullshit. 2 weeks, come on. You get 1 week at the most. You don't get 2 weeks off.
Bunch of Nazis.
There are other shows, but I don't give a fuck about Boruto, so we're not going to talk about that. There was a show I watched called Nolan Peta. Basically, it's very short. I didn't even know it was a short. I didn't even look at the time limit when I started it. It was 5 minutes long, the first episode. But basically, it's about a girl who's a genius, I guess. Something had happened to her sister. I guess she died. She built a robot as a replacement for her sister, but it was like a giant plush robot or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I know about it so far. And it had a 5-minute episode, the first one. So
strange.
We'll see. It's good. I guess if it's 5 minutes, you can't lose anything in your life just to click on it. So
sure.
Let's see. There were some other shows, but I forgot the name of them. Let me see. Let me go to updated. We Never Learned Bokuben. Season 2 came out. Never watched the first one. Kind of interested in it. Might go back and watch first season, get in the second. I'm gonna leave. Let's see. I'm just talking about the shows that you might not know about came out, and then I'll let you talk about the ones you know that are coming out that you're super excited for. I know which show you want to talk about. The 2 especially shows you want to talk about.
You already know.
Yeah, there is one show called Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. The first half of its opening was so bad, I just didn't even continue any further. It got a little bit better in the second. Yeah, it got a little bit better in the second half, and it actually is like one of their more popular ones. It seemed like one of the new ones. So maybe I'll have to force myself to watch it, but it's got more of a cartoony style anime. That's a little weird to say for anime because they're all animated, but it's not as. It's definitely a little bit more cartoony. Let's see. There is another. I'm just looking at the ones that I watched on Crunchyroll because there's another. Radiant season 2 came out, but I did not watch any of Radiant. I don't know anything about it. I think that's about it on Crunchyroll. There is one other show. Let's see. I gotta remember how they pronounce it exactly. Let's see. Here, I have it actually in this chat. Let me go here. So it is called, the Japanese name is Hatage Kimono Michi. Rise Up is another way to pronounce it. It is about a wrestler who is taken from his world into the anime world or fantasy world. He is super in love with animals. It borders on bestiality, the love he has for him, I feel like.
And by borders, it means he gets up and
but it starts off him going back. He basically, the princess is there of some knights and stuff. They're like, hey, you're the hero we summoned to kill, to exterminate demon beasts and stuff like this. And he gets infuriated at the fact that they summon him here just to kill animals. So he walks up to the princess, hugs her from behind, and she's like, I don't mind doing this, but can we maybe do it when no one's around or something like this? And he just ignores that comment and just fucking throws the biggest fucking German suplex on the princess. And I'm like, I've never seen a princess get German suplex. So at this point, the anime has sold me. I don't care what happens next. I'm going to continue watching it. He has to run away.
Definitely put their best foot forward.
Yes. And keeps going forward. Basically, he has to run away. Meets cat Neko girl, and Wolfman, which he is completely Wolfman. Furry Wolfman, we'll say that he's to that extent. And he just goes nuts. He's like, I need to touch this Wolfman. And he just fucking puts him in a hold.
Smush my face into his chest.
He just puts him in a hold, rubs his face in his chest, and makes this Wolfman submit. And I've never seen someone who looks like a werewolf be so scared of anything in his life. And then he goes for the cat girl, but then there's this other wolf girl that is being sold to slavery, it seems like, and he goes up and is like, this is evil and what you're doing is wrong, and he fucking German suplexes that guy too. And then just to kind of get through it, because it's definitely hard to say, to talk about. It's better to watch this. It's only on Funimation though, which sucks. But when you honestly, because I can't even use the Funimation video player, it just breaks every time I try to use it. There's also it tells him that there's Cerberus is attacking outside of town, so he goes out there and some guy's like, hey man, you're going unarmed, you borrow this blade? And he's like, I'm a fucking wrestler, I don't use weapons, what do you think I am? So he fucking goes up there and he sees this Cerberus and he's like, all right, he's like, I'm going in. And they're like, stand back, just let's see what he can do. He goes up there, tosses these Cerberuses, finds the pack leader, and he fucking just jumps over him, grabs him by the waist, and just fucking puts him in a grab and slam move where he's in. And he's just, the next scene is, I don't even know how to explain. He just starts sniffing this dog's ass while holding it in this position. So now the dog has either submit or just forever be stuck in ass sniffing position. So the Cerberus submits, and then now he's become the pack leader basically. And he goes back to town, gets paid, gets clothes finally, because he's just been in his boxer, like his wrestling shorts the whole time. And then basically he tells the fox girls or wolf girls like, so what are you planning on doing now? And he's like, I'm gonna teach people to love these demon beasts, and I'm gonna make humans, demon beasts, animals, everyone work together. And she's like, all right, well, I'm in, that's a noble idea, and I'm a beast person, so it makes sense. And he wants to open a pet shop basically there to prove this point. And then one of my favorite parts is they're sitting at this table. He's like, great, now all four, because he has a little dog too. So he says 4 of us are going to be in on this. And then the camera just pans, and there's just a human-sized ant with a scar on its face, over its eye, just sitting there. And the wolf girl just looks at it and says, who are you? And then the episode ends. I'm like, you can't just end by introducing a big-ass ant with a scar on its face. And just that's it.
But they did.
But that one is definitely one I'm going to continue watching. And those are the ones that come up this season that I'm going to watch, I think. Or, that I know of. Well, I know of more, but I'm going to let you talk about those because I know those are big ones for you.
Yeah, man.
So you're going to take it away.
Those are all very, very fascinating. And I definitely am going to be watching the Kimono Michi.
Oh, you're talking about the wrestling one?
Yeah, the wrestling one is definitely one that I'm.
The Kimono Michi and the one where the guy Dr. Jekyll one. Those are the two I'd recommend definitely to watch that I've seen so far. I don't know if I'll continue the others, but those two I'm definitely going to continue.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit some of these smaller ones and then tackle the two big ones that are on a lot of people's minds. So first we have Blade of the Immortal, which is a manga that has ran from, or is completed now, ran from 93 to 2012. It is animated, or is going to be animated, I should say. The anime will be by the same people who did Ninja Scroll. So if you're a fan of that film, which I am, I think it's a very good movie. It is animated by the same studio and animators. Basically, an immortal swordsman who was cursed by a woman who had her family murdered at his hands, curses him with immortality, and he's forced to wander the earth and take out some evil bad guys. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So now the thing that characterizes it is an Amazon original, so if you don't have Prime, you'll have to find some other way to watch it, which I won't say, but I do have a Prime membership, so I'm definitely going to be watching it. Extremely violent, rated R out the ass. I mean, people are being sliced in half vertically, heads are being chopped off, nose up, and everything in between, disembowelment, dismemberment. Looks pretty cool, though. I do like very violent anime. Always have, like Hellsing Ultimate and a little bit of Elfen Lied. I never got as much.
Oh god, you don't talk about Elfen Lied. I finished.
I couldn't get into that one quite as much, but
no, I'm just depressed. I'm glad you didn't get into it because if you finish the manga for it, it's so fucking sad.
Yeah, I don't think I care to do that. So,
but
Grand Blue Fantasy, of course, as you said, season 2. Might have to look into Grand Blue or Grand Crest Saga, and see what that's all about. You see Ascendance of a Bookworm, you already covered. Fate Grand Order. Now, I'm not a big Fate fan, but for anyone that is, they're coming out with a new one. It's called Fate Grand Order, and then Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia. So whatever you like title. On that one. Sure. Let me see. It started streaming yesterday, the 5th, on Crunchyroll. So, and then the other one that I'm interested in that I don't know anything about is called No Guns Life. I don't believe this has a release date yet. Oh no, it does. October 10th. This is the latest from Studio Madhouse, which has, probably the most sterling track record of just about any anime studio you could name. It is basically a cyberpunk noir show about a private detective who actually has a revolver for a face. That alone, I'm kind of interested. And you add into that it's a noir show by Madhouse, and Madhouse is, they've proven their pedigree time and time again. So I'm going to go ahead and recommend that. It looks cool. The art design looks very clean, as to be expected. So moving on from that, the first big boy that I would like to draw your attention to, Food Wars, the 4th plate, finally dropping on October the 11th. I cannot wait. I have waited and waited and waited for this newest season and been baited there's been fake release date after fake release, and now we finally have it. It premieres in Japan on the 11th, so I guess it'll probably be up on Crunchyroll a few hours after that. So probably around the 12th is when we can expect it.
Well, no, usually if it's a simulcast, they'll be able to get it kind of the...
Crunchyroll can do the simulcast.
Yeah.
Just right then and there. Oh, well.
Of
course, new theme song. Continuing where the second half of the third ended. Not going to spoil anything because we do have Ken in here.
Yeah, because I haven't watched any of it yet.
Yep. So I'm not spoiling anything. Let's just say that at the end of the third plate, they were in a very desperate situation. And I know that sounds weird. Anyone who's never seen, it sounds a lot less intense than it is, but it actually does get pretty intense.
If you watch the first episode, that'll be enough to show you. Basically.
Yeah, that's enough to give you what the show is all about. It's great, art design great, characters hilarious. It's actually it becomes progressively more dramatic as the show goes on. It starts out funny and lighthearted and whatnot, and as it goes, it gets heavier and heavier. Good character relationships, good feels moments, comedy, all. And if you're into the pervy moments, there's a lot of sex jokes as well. So, let me go ahead and get that out of there. So Food Wars, very much looking forward to it. Another show that will be premiering on the 12th or close to October 11th, 12th. My Hero season 4. Now this is the big one. Got a lot of new characters in this latest video that dropped. Some of the villains that will be working in and around Overhaul, which is a big fight that will be coming up. Let me see. You have the sensei of Lemillions, the character that was introduced at the end of the third season. You know how they introduced the big three? The kid who can phase. We get to see his master, who apparently has a connection to all, which we will learn. Once again, I'm not a manga reader, so a lot of this is going to be new to me. I have had some conflicts spoiled for me, which I won't spoil. But the villain of this new arc, which is going to be the hero intern arc, of course, at the end of the third series, the third season, they got their provisional licenses, and so they are now able to operate as heroes and fight villains at their own discretion. So this hero intern arc will be the adaptation of the 14th volume of the manga, and will be premiering on October the 12th. I can't wait. Get a lot of new character designs, costume designs. Of course, the villains we're seeing for the first time. Centipeter, Ryuku, Lock Rock, Fat Gum, a lot of the powerful mid-game villains, because I think My Hero, if I'm not mistaken, is on chapter, I want to say they're at like 180 or 190. So there's quite a bit of story after season 4. They're not, they still have quite a ways to go. Let me see here. This will be a 25 episode series or season.
That's good.
And of course, Funimation, Hulu, Crunchyroll, it's My Hero. You're going to be able to find it here, there, and everywhere. What are your thoughts on My Hero?
I mean, I definitely like the show. It's very entertaining. It can be a lot of drama too. I mean, it's a good show. I mean, it's definitely worth the praise it always gets. I am pretty much caught up with it. I mean, there's probably like a few episodes in season 3 I didn't watch, but I kind of already knew what they were, so I didn't ever take the time to watch them. But I mean, I love it. It's a good show. I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes out. So it'll be something to look forward to, definitely.
So we get Food Wars and My Hero pretty much back to back. Which is going to be great to have.
Yep. And the 11th is supposed to. That is a Friday, so there'll be Friday release. So that's good.
I am down on that.
So right after work, before my weekend off, we can always just watch some of it.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to be able to see the big 3 heroes. All 3 of them use their powers. Kirishima will be getting a new. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I like a lot of My Hero that's part, I think, from a lot of these shonen contemporaries is in shows like Bleach and Naruto and Dragon Ball. You kind of have a lot more screen time for like Naruto and Vegeta, Ichigo and Uryu, and a lot of times the side characters just kind of get shuffled and they don't get their adequate time to breathe and grow. My Hero is the exact opposite. They give their side characters a very generous amount of screen time and lines and moments that they can sort of develop them a little bit more, and it makes the whole group of them a lot better. You have a lot more investment because you get to characterize. It's not just the chick with the dog powers and that's all she is to you, or the guy who turns into a rock, or the guy who drinks sugar. They all have their own quirks, of course, their own little personality ticks. Won't make that mistake again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. October is going to be a good month. And now that we've had a couple of these other bigger shows end, like Demon Slayer and Do You Love Your Mom, which is not, those two are not equal, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
But now that Demon Slayer is down, this is going to be, I'm going to tell you what, man, this year is going to be a good year for figuring out who's got the best anime. You had Rise of S.H.I.E.L.D., Demon Slayer, and then you're going to have at least some of My Hero season. Well, actually, some. You're going to have most of My Hero season 4. But it's going to be a good year for deciding who the best anime. I think Shield Hero still has a very strong argument to make. On that one.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it up to that. We'll talk about that later. We'll probably have
that could be another episode of Otaku.
Yeah. So anything else that
2019's best anime? No, I think that was it. I mean, we had a good amount of news to go through. Like I said, got a lot of good shows to look forward to. And yeah, there's not really going to be a part of this year that's dry in terms of what to watch.
It's true. All right. Well, hey, we're just gonna call it here. Basically, seems like we've run out of things to speak of.
I think we went through quite a bit of material.
Yeah. If there's ever anything y'all could think of, or anything like that, feel free to hit up our email.
We are going to be plugging the top in this. Add that. Timestamp the spoiler for the Bunny Girl spoilers.
Yeah.
so we can get people past that. But other than that, I think this was a good, decent start, and I look forward to, doing more with Opie Senpai.
Yeah, definitely. Gonna have hard boiled Sama here and all.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna call here.
Always stay hard boiled though.
Yeah, I hope you all have a good one. Hey, just remember, keep your waifus close, or we'll keep them close ourselves.
And keep those Opie perky.
Yep. All right, later, y'all.